Peter Parker getting his ass beat in this. So I realized that in my last video when I was talking about this, I was mainly asking just questions, and I talked about how I kind of liked it, but how I did like it, but I didn't really talk about the review of the story or how the story goes. So Peter Parker is basically getting his ass beat in this, but he's first starting off, obviously because this is volume one, right? And this is the Ultimate Universe, right? So he's going along the journey. Obviously, Uncle Ben does die. He does get bit by a spider. Mary Jane almost gets bit by the spider too. So what's funny about that is she keeps talking about once Peter, because he does tell Mary Jane. Once he tells Mary Jane, that he's Spider Man. Um, then she's like, I almost could have been Spider Girl. So, which maybe who knows? But I know you're looking at those DC versus Marvel books back there. We're not talking about those. We're talking about this and the Ultimate Universe, which is all the way over here too on this shelf. So we got volumes 1 through 4, and then we go into the Ultimate Death of Spider-Man, obviously, and then we get into the Miles Morales stuff. And I think volume 5 should be coming out. Anyway, back to this. So he does tell her. It does start off, Harry, and then obviously Harry's dad, and we get the Goblin out of that. But also out of that, we get Doc Ock. So pretty quick here, we fight, the Goblin. Pretty quick here, we fight Doc Ock, and then we fight this guy. I don't know. He's got these like electric like beam thing. I don't know, whatever you call it. But he is getting his ass beat a lot in this. But I mean, he's not a hero yet. He's just beginning, which I like this because we're going through this whole journey. We're seeing his ups and downs on this, and which I mean, obviously you've probably seen the regular Spider-Man, but this ain't the regular Spider-Man. This is the Ultimate Spider-Man we're talking about. Um, but I really, really, really love this book. I really enjoyed his story, so I'm really excited to jump into book 2. Here we got him facing the Goblin. Like I said, then he does fight Doc Ock. Um, Obviously Harry's dad has him come. Oh, and Kingpin. He fights Kingpin. I won't tell you about that fight. You just have to read it if you've never read the Ultimate Universe. I did like the Kingpin stuff, but like I said, getting his ass beat in a lot of this. I do like the relationship that he has with Aunt May. After Uncle Ben dies. What I do like about this, though, is besides his relationship with Mary Jane, is that Gwen Stacy just shows up at the school. So I'm assuming she lived with her mom and then must have transferred over because her mom and dad split up. And obviously, her dad is the what commissioner? Is he commissioner or is he just like detective? Whatever. He's in the police force there, so obviously, he's already lived there, right? But then she just shows up at the school, and she gets in a fight. She gets kicked out of school, but she gets put right back in the school because her dad obviously is a cop. And then she ends up going to stay at uh, Aunt May's house with Peter Parker, and Mary Jane don't like that too much. So we do get that, and then we also get obviously get Flash Thompson, and then what's this dude's name? The heavier set dude. I can't think of his name. He's pretty funny throughout it. I think as far as funny wise, I think there were some parts that are really funny, and then there's some parts that are just eh. And then obviously you get James Jonas, James, jo- that tongue twister, James Jonas, and he's working there, the Daily Bugle. Um, and we got Doc Ock. So it's a fun journey, and for how many people he fights right off the bat, you got Gwen Stacy. Like I said, the only thing I didn't learn, and obviously Nick Fury comes up in here too. The only thing I noticed too was like that I didn't like about the art, and I said it in the last video, is that Harry sometimes looks like almost like an adult versus the same age as, or roughly around the same age as Peter, and then he looks like a kid, and then he looks like an adult. So that I didn't like because it was kind of weird, but whatever. I mean, it's just the art. Um, like I said, you go through a lot of villains in this. Oh, and I even forgot Craven the Hunter. Craven the Hunter shows up, but Craven the Hunter gets his ass beat like right away. Um, so we got to kind of figure out what kind of Craven the Hunter Craven is inside the Ultimate Universe. Going along reading this, obviously you got Doc Ock shows up. And then we'll skip forward, but this, like I said, great book. Goblin comes back. Nick Fury, obviously. Then you get the relationship issues with Mary Jane and Peter here, which I really enjoyed. And then, like I said, and Nick, he's fighting himself to whether he wants to stay Spider-Man, which I thought is really interesting, and it really adds a lot to the story to tell you that he's still young and he's struggling to be this Spider-Man, and Nick Fury has to talk him into staying Spider-Man. And then of course we get Eddie Brock, who looks kind of weird in this. Um, we get Eddie Brock here, who hits on Gwen Stacy here, like, and she's like, I'm only 15. He's like, yeah, so I ain't that why you came up here. That was a little weird, but whatever it is, what this is, I guess. I don't know. But what I did like about it is him talking at the and finding out about his dad trying to cure cancer. But then we get the whole Venom story. So, like I said, last one I didn't really talk too much about it. I wanted to talk a little bit more about it, show you kind of through it. Hopefully, you could see some of it while I was flipping through it, and then learn the characters that are in it. Which, like I said, a lot of his villains. Great story. I loved it. I give it a 5-star. And I'm ready to jump into book 2 or Ultimates. I don't know. But I'll see you on the next one. Peace.